everybody, how are you doing? My name is Robert, welcome back, and hope you all had a fantastic weekend. It is Monday, and I want to talk about 5 different things that I think could make or break a guitar player. Now, some of these are geared more towards beginners, but then some of them are just for all of us at any, phase of our guitar journey. And we're just going to go ahead and jump into these. If you want tabs, just joking, there are no tabs for this one. And real quick, if you guys could, make sure you have your notifications turned on. Just click that little red bell and say you want to receive notifications. That way you know when I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and when I post videos through the rest of the week. So let's go ahead and just jump on into this one. So number 1, let's start at the very beginning. It all starts with whatever, something will inspire you to want to play guitar. Maybe you see a guitar and it looks cool. Maybe you hear something. I heard Van Halen and it made me want to learn how to play guitar. Now, the key thing here that I think could make or break a guitar player is what you start on. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, you start with, maybe you only have an acoustic and you want to play electric. We can't overcome those hurdles of just like if the electric is not an option. Now, if you have an option to buy either an electric or an acoustic, make sure you know what it is that inspired you to want to play. Now, I don't expect you to know right from the beginning what, a 1959 Les Paul is or something like that. If you're starting on that, then you've got us all beat. But no, just start with what inspired you. If I heard Van Halen, so I started on electric guitar, and it was later that I found my love of acoustic guitar. So I'm definitely an electric guitar player, but I still love acoustic. Now, one thing is, if you, are forced, this is a very common misconception I hear from parents all the time when I was teaching beginner students, was like, oh, I've always been told it was better to start on an acoustic because it, it builds up finger strength and stuff like that. I'm like, that's true, it does all that stuff, but it's not necessarily better. Because if your kid wants to play AC/DC, he doesn't want to play an acoustic. He probably wants to play, an SG, some kind of electric guitar with distortion. That's the sound that resonated with him that made him want to play. So just make sure that you're trying your best, if at all possible, to start on what it was that you first saw or heard that inspired you to want to play the guitar. Alright, so now that you've got your guitar, on to number 2. Now this one is how your guitar plays, and this is a very, very good investment for you to make. Now, unfortunately, a lot of beginner guitars are not the highest quality, so there's not a lot you can do sometimes, but if you just get a guitar out of the box that's a beginner guitar, odds are that action's like 1.5 miles off the fingerboard. It's probably intonated very poorly, and it's just not going to be a good guitar. So I would definitely recommend take it into the shop and have them set it up and intonate it the best they can, get the strings as low as they can, and stuff like that, to where it's going to be, easier to play. If you're playing those guitars that you might as well call a dobro at this point because the action's so high on them, that's going to be extremely discouraging as a guitar player. Some people can get through that, that phase, but I got lucky in mine. My starter guitar was a total starter guitar. It was a Samick, and it was set up and all that stuff, so it still played really nice. Well, at the time I thought it played nice. I don't know what I would think now, but I highly recommend that. Get your guitar set up, and it can make even, an expensive guitar play so much better, and it'll make your journey way more enjoyable. So what is next? Well, it is all about time. So obviously, like most instruments and sports and all that kind of stuff, you get better the more time you put into it, but we've got to find time to put into it. And that's usually what I have come across as being a teacher, a huge struggle for people, finding time. Our schedules are already maxed out, and you're probably basically doing 25 hours worth of stuff in a 24-hour period. Now, I understand that, but you have to find time to play the guitar. This is a huge make or break thing. So whether it means, recording your favorite show and trying to watch it a little bit later or something like that, or even just set up 15 minutes before you go to bed, or that's not the best scenario, but sometimes it's still better than none. What I would definitely encourage you to do is try to set up, we'll say 30 minutes a day is your max. Now, I would rather you practice 30 minutes a day for 5 days than for 1 solid hour 1 day a week. We want that repetition. It's a lot about building up muscle memory, so we want to be running through that stuff a bunch, whether you're going through scales, whatever it is. But I would much rather you practice that way, and 30 minutes is usually easier to find than an hour of time, or 15 minutes, 7 days a week, versus you know, an hour, 1 day a week, or something like that. You know, just really try to find that time, figure out where in your schedule you can, like, you're like, you know what, okay, I'll cut out the last, you know, 30 minutes of this TV show, or I'll get up an extra 15 minutes early or something in the morning, 20 minutes early, whatever it is. Time is a huge hurdle for guitar players to overcome. So what's next? It's what do you want to be playing? Oh, too many times, like myself, who wanted to learn Van Halen, you know, we want to learn things that are a little bit too difficult, for, I shouldn't say a little bit, way too difficult for a beginner to learn. But luckily, like around the time that I was playing guitar, there were other bands that had, you know, still rock sound that I dug, obviously, but were way easier to get into, like Three Doors Down. I remember I learned like albums of Three Doors Down stuff. And Creed, that was another one. I learned a lot of their stuff. AC/DC. You know, I was learning like all this stuff because I could play it. It wasn't quite that Van Halen sound that I wanted, but I was like, but it's still close. It's distorted guitar. It's got a lot of the stuff in it. So figure out, like I said, you know, just how to chase the sound that made you want to play. Maybe you're an acoustic guy and you heard Tommy Emmanuel and you want to play guitar, and I'm sorry, but you just chose like one of the most difficult players to play like in the world. But you know what? Then it's like, okay, well maybe you start with, I don't even want to say Dust in the Wind because that one's pretty tough too, or like Fleetwood Mac, that stuff's really hard. But you know, some kind of acoustic stuff, you know, maybe some Beatles, you know, whatever it might be. But you're still getting that sound, like Blackbird, that's a great one, if you're doing like some acoustic-y, you know, pieces. But, you know, really find what it is that you know, inspired you to play, and try to figure out things around it. Maybe ask more knowledgeable players, you know, about it, and, or if you already have been playing for a while, figure out, like, how do I get to that point? Like, I mean, I play Van Halen riffs now, they're not anywhere near correct, like the way Eddie would play them. But it is very rewarding to sit there and just be like, oh, okay. See, I obviously still play them wrong all the time, but so go ahead and just, like I said, chase that sound, figure out ways that you can get to the point where you want, and most importantly, you're playing music, you know? And the final one, which could go all kinds of different directions. Like I said, this is just my list, you know? There's all kinds of other ones that could be listed, but I really feel like playing music is the key. You know, you can spend all the time in the world going through your scales, practicing the pentatonic, and all that is great. They're very useful tools. I'm not trying to discourage that at all. But, you know, think about, most people got into guitar because they heard something, you know, or, you know, music in general, you know, resonates with them. So you want to get to where you're playing music, and whether it's playing someone else's music, I mean, I really think that playing your own music is one of the most rewarding things ever. I mean, it still, to this day, inspires me so much to take an idea. If I was to sit here and just an idea off the top of my head, think of a riff, you know? I can't remember exactly how I played that. That was part of a song, but then I remember I recorded that riff and I was like... What was it? What was it? I mean, that was all like stuff I had never played before. And as I was writing the song, it just started unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. I was like, wow, I love this. And like I said, all these years later, 12, 13 years, however long I've been playing, and I still am just as excited about writing music and playing music. I'm not even as excited. I'm more excited now than ever. So those are just 5 things that I think could possibly make or break a guitar player, and will hopefully kind of like have us all jamming out together. Alrighty guys, that will be it. Hair in my mouth. And other than that, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace out, homies. Keep on rocking. You guys asked me to do more of these kind of just talking videos, and despite the fact that I hate hearing myself speak, I will gladly do these if you guys enjoy them. So other than that, I will see you all later. Peace out, homies. Keep on rocking, and I will see you later.